So, Highguard is dead. It just got announced that Highguard will be shutting down on March 12th. Will be its last day ever online. Um, Honestly, not that surprising. Everyone saw this coming. You know, Highguard reached almost 100,000 players, which is very good for a live service game, especially when you have no marketing up to leading it. It's kind of crazy that it took them this long, and so many people defending the game, unwillingly wanting to acknowledge what was happening. Um, well, I'm going to break down. I mean, it's pretty obvious, but I played High Guard. A lot of people play High Guard. It had a lot of numbers at the very beginning, but the game was pretty average. There was nothing good about High Guard. Almost as if there was nothing bad about High Guard. High Guard didn't have anything straight up just terrible, but it had nothing good. I said if it tried to be Apex, it tried to be Valorant, it tried to be Rainbow Six Siege, but it failed at so many things. Things like reinforcing the walls didn't really matter. They didn't need to have fucking mining crystals. But uh, this is the thing with the live service. Every company wants a live service, but not every company is willing to put in the work for a live service. Arc Raiders did not come out half baked. Arc Raiders came out with what, 6 maps, a full road map. This game came out. It didn't even have rank mode. They had what, 6 characters, 1 map. There was no. This game had multiple maps, but that's the thing. The maps didn't really they didn't really different. They weren't really that different from each other because every map you just do the same thing. You go to the sword, you loot, and then you go back and you destroy the base. I feel like this game could have just been, taking turns destroying each other's base and planting the bomb. But this game tried so hard to do everything that it did nothing good. Uh, it was just an average game in the live service industry and the video game industry as general. Live average games are not good enough. If you're going to be an average game, you better have a below average budget. That's the only way you're going to survive in the game industry now, where every other game is asking for your attention. Marathon is coming out. I think Marathon comes out the same week or same day. It's coming out very soon. It comes out this month in March. The same day that Highguard is dying, Marathon's dropping. And that's another game that's going to ask for attention, and that's going to take away players from Highguard, most likely. The game's not going to be alive at the end of the month. So, you know, the next thing is the industry, video game industry is not going to learn anything from this. They're not. As we know, if you're into gaming, every fucking company wants a Fortnite. Everyone wants a Rainbow Six Siege. Everyone wants a Arc Raiders. Um, because everyone wants Marvel Rivals because they do make a shit ton of fucking money. Uh, but not every company can wants to put in the work. And the thing is, not every live service needs a new genre. Um, there's no reason to make another hero shooter with Marvel Rivals and Overwatch being out. You've done everything. You can't bring nothing too new to that genre that they already haven't done or plan on doing better than you. Same thing with, striker shooters. Arc Raiders got lucky because they thought out of the box. They didn't try to be with so many other extraction shooters. They didn't try to beat ABI or Tarkov. They're Arc Raiders. There's no other game like Arc Raiders on the market. There's plenty of games like Highguard. And it's funny because, the first moment this game was announced, it was called Concord 2 for obvious reasons. It looks pretty bad. The character designs are pretty fucking bland. I'm not gonna lie, pull any punches. The game was like the most mid thing ever, and it showed. People played this game, but How long? That's the thing with live service games that companies don't look at. Yeah, you can get players, but how long until the next game drops that says, "Hey, come play us too"? How long until Marathon says, "Hey, you want to try this out?" Granted, Highguard was free, but free to play games aren't free. That's the thing with free to play games. They're not free. They cost money to keep online. That's why I say, like, yeah, you can like Highguard, you can like Concord, you can like Marathon, but these games require you to come back and spend money on the shop because they're always online. With single player games, not so much. They don't have to pay for as much server space. They don't have to pay to keep the games running. You buy a single player game. That's pretty much it. High Guard, you got to buy your $20 bundles and battle passes. And would you rather buy battle pass in High Guard or Marvel Rivals or Overwatch or Arc Raiders? And everyone knows the answer. Thing is, with High Guard, it's not a unique situation. This happens like every few months. It's not just High Guard, but just games in general. You had Star Wars Outlaws, you got High Guard, you have Concord, you have Redfall, you have Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, and guess what? There's going to be another game. Either it's going to be a marathon. You got Fair Games coming out, which is going to be an abomination if that game comes out. We know Sony is canceling fucking studios like Blue Point because they tried to make a live service God of War game and obviously failed. But this is pretty obvious. I mean, everyone saw the writing on the wall. You know, people are not even being optimistic. It's not being hopeful when you say like, "Oh, Highguard is not going to do bad." It's like you're just lying to yourself. You're being delusional on purpose. When no game has ever came out, has ever been announced, has had negative reception to the point where it's 90-10 and been successful. It's never happened. Every game that's had negative reception to a point where it's even 60-40, if it's more negative than it is positive, the game has never been successful. Um, yeah, not completely flops. They're probably not going to be flops, but flops and successful are not the same thing. I mean, not flopping and being successful are not the same thing. You can still not flop and not be successful. It just means you are mediocre. Ubisoft has been doing this for a very long time. Their games don't flop, but they don't make a shit ton of money as they expected. They never meet expectations. That's what they're called. Yeah, they don't meet expectations, but they're not considered flops, meaning they're going to they're going to try again. That's why Assassin's Creed has not been taken offline. You see a game like what X Defiant, that game flopped. Veilguard, that game flopped. It killed the studio. Games that kill the studio flop. And Highguard is going to kill the studio. I doubt this studio will last. We already know that this game did layoffs, so I'm pretty sure now the studio shutting down. They have no money. They probably put all their money and their resources into making this game. So I'm pretty sure they're not going to make another Highguard. I'm pretty sure the studio is done for now. And the thing is, people always have this opinion, or people have this opinion that you should give a game a chance. I don't ever feel bad for a live service game where they look at every genre in the world and they say, okay, let's do a live service. Expedition was made for $10 million, and it's one of the most successful games of that year. It dropped, and it's going to be an evergreen game that's going to keep selling well. They sold 3.3 million copies in its first month, already made twice of what they spent on it. You already know they're going to get a shit ton of more investors. They're going to get more budget for the next game. But the thing is, like, Highguard shouldn't even have been made. You could have made anything. You could have made a sandbox like Ark Survival. You could have made something like a story mode game like Silk Song. You could have made Expedition, meaning a single player ambitious game. Live services games are made just to get money out of you. And it's not surprising that it has died. I mean, to be honest, I'm surprised it lasted this long. They lost more money keeping it online than if they would have just shut it down after like 2 weeks. I don't know why they were trying to be hopeful. I've seen people like, oh well, maybe they can like fix the game and update it and make it better. No, 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 no. Highguard, you would be doing more work to make it better, and spend. They would be spending money they don't have basically. When you make a live service game, you don't release a game with the idea, okay, we're going to release it and then make it better over time. No, you release it and then people are supposed to like it and you make money and then add content. If you're releasing a game and say, okay, we're going to make it better over time, people are not going to play it during that time. You won't have money to make the game better. And then we found out like the game wasn't even really like from a small studio. Freaking Tencent was back in the game, so it's like everything about this game was just bad. But it's kind of disappointing to see that the way this industry is going with uh live service games. Because instead of making a shooter, instead of making a story mode game, even a fighting game, a racing game, a puzzle game, anything other than another generic hero shooter with Concord level, Apex level designs, they just decided to do decided to do that, and they decided to fail. Why would you grow a garden in a fucking blizzard and then grow a garden where the grass is green? They set themselves up for failure. They set themselves up for failure. And it had to be because of, toxic positivity. It's a real thing. No one who played this game before testing, the streamers, when the game released back in this game, oh, actually, the game is good. The game is not good. It's not. And that's the problem. They don't have people in the air. I mean, if I was in charge of this studio, we would have made Highguard. We would have made a action single player game. Simple as that. We would have made a third person horror game like Resident Evil or Alan Wake or Dead Space. And that's what we would have done. And we would have charged it for $40, $50, and we would have made money. Because there's not that many Dead Space likes. As much as people look at Resident Evil, just fucking hit what 300,000 players, or just on Steam. Like people want these games. No, people don't want Highguard. People spent $70 on Resident Evil. They would spend $40 on a Resident Evil like, and it doesn't even need to reach 300,000 on Steam. Just needs to reach what, maybe 100, not even half of that. Because we know video games like Noah 3 did well. Noah 3 only hit what, 80,000. Wukong hit 100,000. They don't need to reach. In these games, they came out and said, "Yeah, we did successful," uh, because people want these games. Now it's funny because everyone's going to be waiting for the next Highguard. Which is it going to be Marathon? I played Marathon. It's not nothing special. It's definitely not as bad as Highguard. It's just boring. Is it going to be Fair Games? 100%. Fair Games will do terrible. You got Horizon Weathering Waves, weathering something like not Weathering Waves. Don't ever just never do that again. Hunter's Gathering, Horizon Hunter Gathering. There's so many games that's down the pipeline that's going to be the next Concord. And whether or not you like the idea of something being called a Concord, Highguard was Concord too, and hopefully it's the last Concord, even though it will not be the last Concord. All right, that's it. Peace. Like and subscribe. Thank you.